Ya ni duermo al saber que a mi lado no estás. Noches de llanto, preguntándole a la vida si volverás. Y sufro como no te imaginas, amor, tengo sentimiento. Dime cómo aguantar tanto dolor. Y te vas sin decirme nada, sin saber por qué. Dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón. Y te vas sin decirme nada, sin saber por qué. Dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón. Yo de noche sufro, no me llega el sueño. Dime cómo hago con mis sentimientos. No lo pagaría por tener tus besos y tal vez cambiar algo de pensamiento. He guardado silencio, pero yo no aguanto. Quiero saber, solo dime hasta cuándo. Si será hasta nunca, por favor contesta, que mi corazón necesita respuesta. Y si mi mente falla, venga mi corazón, no quiero que te vayas. Y te doy la razón, solo pido perdón. Ya ni duermo al saber que a mi lado no estás. Noches de llanto, preguntándole a la vida si volverás. Y sufro como no te imaginas, amor, tengo sentimientos. Dime cómo aguantar tanto dolor. Y te vas sin decirme nada, sin saber por qué. Dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón. Sin saber un porqué, dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón. Ya ni duermo al saber que a mi lado no estás. Noches de llanto, preguntándole a la vida si volverás. Y sufro como no te imaginas, amor, tengo sentimientos. Dime cómo aguantar tanto dolor. Y te vas sin decirme nada, sin saber por qué. Dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón. Y te vas sin decirme nada, sin saber por qué. Dime la verdad, si fui yo el que fallé. Perdóname, solo quisiera ver tu corazón.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera, and this is the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. And right now we are at episode 127. I can't believe it. It's been so long. And tonight we're taking it all the way to the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. We are talking with the one and only Jessica Taylor. Hello, Jessica. Thank you so much for coming to the platform tonight.
Thanks for having me, Diamond. I'm so glad to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, people know you as Jessica, but also people know you as DJ Tay from the For the Love of Bachata events. And, you know, for me, as we've talked as well privately, I really wanted to have you on because you being an organizer of one of many events that people absolutely adore, you being an avid dog lover, I definitely had to have you on and really get to know you more. But I mean, so many of my friends have talked about you, about your events, and I'm really glad that we get to celebrate the success of another artist here.
Thank you. That really means a lot.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we always do on the podcast, understanding the success that we see currently but I think it's also really important understanding who the person is beyond what they do in the public eye, really understanding the human aspect of things. And, as I always start all my podcasts, is that first question of understanding. And it goes like this: Jessica, can you tell us who is Jessica Taylor before bachata, before dance, before it all?
Oh gosh. It has been so long since my identity did not have dance attached to it. Before dance, I was a student. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know what I wanted to teach. And eventually, the way it worked out, I became a Spanish teacher. I became a Spanish teacher to elementary students, which has been really fun. I have always enjoyed traveling. I've enjoyed being outside, having new experiences and being around people. Yeah, I guess that's who I am.
I mean, and for me, talking to many artists and organizers over this past year, especially, understanding it wasn't always about dance. Dance, for some, dance has been in their life, whether it's in a family aspect at the parties we go to, or some have been classically trained. But realizing certain people are just, kind of run-of-the-mill, normal people with normal lives, and dance kind of just happens at a later time. So understanding from that, when did dance kind of fall into your lap per se, or how did it really kind of impact you to start getting more involved, or maybe even taking classes?
So college was my first opportunity to really act on something that I knew was inside, because I was so inspired by like movies that had salsa dancing in it. Mm-hmm. And now looking back, I realize that's not really the same thing that we do now. So badly wanted to dance. And then, so when I was in college, actually my last year, I got more involved with a Latino student organization. Mm-hmm. And the friends I made there started teaching me. Right. So I learned my first salsa steps, my first bachata steps. I learned merengue all with them, which was really great. But I wouldn't officially like join a dance community until like 2 years later, because I was doing student teaching. I was graduating, getting my job. And then I was silly enough to immediately sign up for a graduate program. So after that program, I dove headfirst into the dance world, and it's starting in Pittsburgh, and haven't looked back since.
Wow. And it's interesting because, like you said, coming from Pittsburgh, most people would, when you think of like Pennsylvania, most people think of Philly, but realizing there is a dance community in Pittsburgh. So give us an understanding from yourself of, being, of course, new to the community at that point. What was it like back in those days?
Oh gosh. Salsa was king back then. And I mean, I started for salsa. That was what I wanted. Yeah. So I was perfectly fine with it, and I still love salsa. People forget that about me because I promote bachata.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything was salsa dominant. They were also at that time, I don't know, it was a really great time because we had a lot of really high level dancers. Mm-hmm. But we were also on the social level, we were very cliquey. So as a new dancer, it was kind of hard to like find my place in the community for a while. It's so interesting to look back because it feels so different now. Everything has changed. But yeah, I mean, at that time it was salsa, and if you were lucky, you got like 2 to 4 bachatas a night.
And I love your honesty, because whether it's in New York, whether it's in California, east, west, north, south, wherever you gauge it, I've heard the same exact notion of when people remembered, and again, that term of when salsa was king and bachata was just in very few rooms. You maybe, if it was in the salsa room, it was like a break song and giving people a little break, get some water, get a new t-shirt maybe. But realizing how far the bachata community has grown from where we've seen it. And also you being another artist that I've known that originally started in salsa. And I've noticed some of the world-renowned even teachers we see were first salseros and salseras before they even got into the bachata world. So I find that interesting. So, like you said, going from your first classes, but getting really involved 2 years after, what was that transition like for you? Was there a specific school you went to, or you kind of just went to outdoor or indoor events and kind of just mingled from there?
Oh gosh, I was way too scared to start social dancing right away. So I found lessons, which was actually like hard at the time to get clear information about where classes were. So I found one studio, and I started lessons with a teacher, and that's where I made my first like salsa friend. Her name is Amanda. She now lives in Philly, but she was like my wing woman that made me feel safe to go, or like brave enough to go social dancing. And once you are brave enough to do that and you meet more people, that's when you get all that information about, oh, well, so-and-so also does classes, So over that first couple of years, I think I took group lessons with everybody, and I also found an instructor to take private lessons with.
So a question that I have as well is, you being a woman in this dance scene, what were those initial experiences like for you within going to socials and meeting new people? Was it kind of an easy transition, or did you have kind of those moments that were kind of like, I don't know how far I want to go with this?
Oh gosh, I'm not even sure if I can remember clearly what I was thinking. I mean, I definitely never envisioned myself to be where I am now. I thought I would just forever be a social dancer.
Yeah.
And I did from the get-go. I loved it. It was like unlocking like another, window in my soul. But it's hard to remember exactly what that feeling was, but I don't think I thought it was temporary at all.
Yeah, because I mean, there's always those dancers, or I would say that there's two different paths you're going to take. Whether you're going to actually more take it serious and take more classes, train, maybe eventually perform, or social dancing is really more your focus. So, you being a salsera, of course, in the beginning, when did that kind of transition into kind of the bachata world come about?
When did that transition happen? Well, right away, my first, the salsa instructor that I was taking privates with, he also loved bachata. And he would perform bachata at different festivals. So he got me to go to DC Bachata Congress. Lee and Kat also came to Pittsburgh that year, and I think they were giving away passes. So I went to DC Bachata Congress. Obviously, that was eye-opening, and I came back like, y'all, do you know what's going on? Like, do you know how much music is out there? Like, do you know how good this dance can be? And I just came back. I was like that person, like everybody, like travel, like you got to go see what's out there. And it, it felt like, I don't know, like I was Chicken Little, like the sky is falling. Like, stop that. Like, we don't want to hear what you have to say, So I think that's eventually what led to me becoming a promoter and an organizer. I was just like, but it's out there. Like, listen to me. It's out there. There's this good music. Like, start playing more music. And, the people that had been here for so long were like, no.
Yeah.
So, that was, that was how that happened.
Wow. And to hear that it was that event, the DC Bachata Congress, and big shout out to Lee and Kat, especially when they do DCBX, and realizing that event alone, I think yearly, everyone kind of marks in their calendar. And for you to kind of that be your kind of initial Congress to go to and kind of open your eyes to things, I find that fascinating, because that kind of lifestyle in 3 days and partying and dancing till wee hours in the morning, all I can say is it's an experience. So like you said, getting that inspiration from them. So you creating for the Love of Bachata, how did the name actually come about?
That's an interesting story. So months after, maybe like a year after, I can't keep up with the timeline. I guess probably like more than a year after myself and like some other people were, most follows were going to DC, and we were really loving, our bachata experiences. This other girl, she posted in the Pittsburgh salsa community group on Facebook, like something to the effect of like, why do people just not love bachata here? Like, it is so good. I love it. I want to dance it more. But every time someone tries to start a bachata night, it fails for one reason or the other. Like, what's going on? And it just started this shitstorm in the comments. And, I was trying not to engage because I try to remind myself, like at all stages, that I don't always know everything. So I'm just reading the comments, with people who are hardcore bachata haters, and, just saying bachata is not worthy. It's not a complex dance. It's like not a good dance. The music's not good. And just like listening to the back and forth, I had this epiphany. I was like, they need to hear more music. Like our DJ's playing 20 songs. Like that is all the bigger that their collection is. They need to hear more music. So the name kind of came as like a reaction, kind of like For the Love of God, but instead like Love of Bachata. Like seriously, it was kind of at first an expression of like frustration or like exhaustion kind of with it. Like, so that's when I started the Facebook page. And at first I was just sharing YouTube videos with songs to try to get people to listen to music. Yeah.
Wow. And hearing that and understanding how that moment was created, realizing through kind of a social media aspect of just trying to find a terminology to use for that moment, and realizing how from that, it became really a movement. I think for me, being a salsero, transitioning, going more into the bachata world, from my personal opinion, what really struck was that the same people who condemned it started dancing it and started now becoming teachers. And because they saw the avenue, they saw that, there was so many salsa teams, there weren't enough bachata teams. For me, also, I noticed the Congress atmosphere was almost night and day. In a sense, it's weird because, it's the same structure, but just the atmosphere, the music is different. And also, too, I think I noticed was, of course, we love the traditional bachata, even now the modern music, but then also the remixes, also the sensual bachata, the different styles of it. I think it was an attention seeker and it grabbed people in. And really realizing, like you said, from your Pittsburgh community, kind of wondering, where's the love for bachata? Who really understands it and appreciates it? Now having an event of your own. So my question to you is, what was it like your first event for the Love of Bachata, your first official event with people there? What was that experience like for you?
Okay, so it depends on what we're calling official. So my first event with like a social was outside on Mount Washington, which is this gorgeous overlook of the city in Pittsburgh. And it started because for a while, I'd been just actually copying somebody else's idea. They said at night have a speaker and they go dance like blues up on Mount Washington. I was like, ooh, that's a good idea. So I would get a couple of friends together. We'd dance salsa and bachata. And one time I posted pictures and people were like, you didn't invite me. Like, I feel left out. I was like, all right. I'll do it again at the end of the month. And what went from like 15 people, which I thought was a lot, was 115 people. It exploded. And from there, it was just like, oh, okay, so we got to do this again. Like, where can we do it? And we did it at the Point, which is, we in Pittsburgh, we have 3 rivers. So the Point is the piece of land right at the Delta where the rivers merge. And there's a beautiful fountain. And that's also how I learned you need to have permits for these things. You can't just take 100 people and go wherever you want. But that kind of got the ball rolling from there.
Man, and even before we keep going, we have to give a big shout out to Biscuit, all the way from the London area, showing us love here. And realizing, too, again, how dance really changes our lives for the better. And like you said, having that moment of, from a photo and someone saying, I wish I was there, now having people coming to your event So, through the years or through the times of you having this event, now having it in an indoor space, now having a lot more of the community involved, what was it like having that event where you had some of those teachers that people see on viral videos coming to your space and teaching the masses? What were those moments like for you now?
I don't know. They've all been great, because by the time I've brought most of these people, they've already become my friends and my mentors. Like Carlos Cinta was the second artist I ever brought, and he 100% changed the trajectory of For the Love of Bachata, because I start just like everybody else in 2010. I started with modern bachata. I loved it, and then he started introducing me to Edwin Ferreras, Daniela Grosso, Adam Taub, he expanded my world. And once I attended this event in 2014 called Toronto Beats that Carol Cuison from I Freestyle organized with Carlos Cinta, it was done. Like For La Bachata was on the path, so I don't know. It's been amazing to kind of learn from them as I go and be able to bring them to inspire my people, but also to continue inspiring myself.
Absolutely. I mean, you now being an organizer, I think taking that role, not just being just a novice dancer, socialite, but now having that responsibility of having a space where people can come and dance. My question to you is, how does it feel being a woman who is an event organizer? And as I say that, I know we've talked as well, because I really appreciate the representation that more women are getting of being event organizers, because I think especially in our salsa world and bachata world, we need that representation. I feel it's there, but I think we just need to shed more light on it. So really the question is, how has it been being a woman that owns an event and kind of has that influence on a community? Do you see it kind of different, or like have you gotten people just asking for advice or trying to understand what it feels like?
I don't know. It's hard to separate what is because of my gender and what is because I was new to something at the time. Because I feel, my whole life experience is as a woman, so I don't really know what it would feel like as a man. But I do know that if I had had like a boyfriend or a dance partner at that time, I would have been super comfortable doing what many follows and partnerships do all the time, take the back seat, doing all the background work and letting him be the persona. Because for me, it was really hard for me to really be the leader and be the face. I tried to kind of hide behind the word we and post like we are doing. I tried, I didn't really like speaking in front of crowds, but that allowed for me to be taken advantage of from some people that just saw, the potential of dollar signs. Some people, they were not mad if someone misattributed my work to them. They were not mad about it, or even later wanted to absorb my company under theirs. So I had I don't know. It's kind of hard to know, like I said, what was because I was new and they were playing mentor, but really wanting to have control, or what because I was a woman and people inherently perceive women as maybe not as capable. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, because and the reason I do ask that, because a lot of the women that I've had on, we've had those talks of whether it's representation, whether it's sexism, and realizing for me as a male, I'm very supportive of having more women organizers, because I know there are there, but a lot of times you just see this only just the same ones. But seeing people like yourself that have grown within the community, see what the community loves and want to get back to them, I think that's really special. So now my question is, you're having this event. Now, you have these events that people love going to. For you, then now also traveling, what have been some of your favorite events to go to besides For the Love of Bachata?
Oh, that's hard. Okay, so of course I've always loved going to Toronto. Like I said, Toronto Beats was an awesome event. Dame Tu Bachata, which was organized by Arawaku and Peter D'Souza of Mambo Beat Photography and Francisco Garcia, DJ Cisco. Those events were iconic. But also in the States, Baltimore Salsa Bachata Congress has been amazing. Obviously, DC Bachata Congress has had a huge impact on me. My gosh, I feel like I'm going to forget something because it's just been so long since I've been to. I feel like there've been so many. I mean, between small events. Upstate New York Latin Dance Fest, organized by Karen Price, was always so fun. So I liked the small events, and I also had great times at some of the larger events too.
Absolutely. And it was something also that we talked about privately about how you feel like the Pittsburgh community is a little more closer to the Ohio community than it is the Philly community. I mean, could you kind of expound on that? Because I found that actually like, wow, and really just surprising.
I mean, it sounds surprising even to me, like when I say it out loud, because Pittsburgh and Philly are Pennsylvania, but Philly is realistically like a 5-hour drive away. But Cleveland is a 2-hour drive away. Columbus is a 3-hour drive away. Cincinnati is just as far as Philly. So, and there's also been some really amazing events in Cleveland, like Salsa Duro by Efrain, DJ Efrain. People from all over Ohio and Michigan and West Virginia, and obviously Pittsburgh as well. We would all meet up there. And Baila Duro. Sorry, I'm called it the wrong name. Baila Duro. Sorry, Efrain. It's been so long. But, you know, it was just so much easier to drive 2 hours to that event and connect with all the Ohio people than it is sometimes to drive 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours into, you know, Jersey to connect with those dance scenes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, you being an organizer for many years, and now with COVID, especially last year hitting, and kind of just rearranging our whole dance community on its head, but now us slowly finding some sense of normalcy. What have kind of been the biggest lessons that you have learned as an organizer within your community?
Through COVID?
Through COVID.
Through COVID. That's a hard one. I mean, I feel like this year has taught us so many things about so many things. Like we saw with COVID, who was in it because they care about people, who was in it because they, you know, prioritize money. And I'm not knocking people needing to pay their bills because I get it, you know, but I think there was kind of a split there a little bit. But I mean, we also had a huge year, you know, an eye-opening year for social justice. And for me, that was also really impactful to see who's not been saying anything, who's not been working on themselves, who's not standing up for social justice through their platform. You know, like, I don't know. I want my events to be safe for everybody. That means I need to stay aware of what I'm doing and, you know, what information I'm taking in, because that's going to come out through what I do. But it also makes me as a consumer aware of who I'm supporting, right? So this year has been eye-opening.
Yes, I believe eye-opening to say the least. I totally agree with you, but I think really also with this year, like you said, it's just, I think it's been very revealing. It's really helping us understand, like you said, when times are really tough, who really cares about the community or who just cares about their pocket. And it's just, in all actuality, that's really how simple it is, because I'm talking to these same people, understanding where their heads are at. And of course, I want people to have fun, but I would love people to be safe and be safety a priority first. Because as you see, as we find a sense of normalcy, as vaccines are coming out, as events are popping up, you know, my hope is that our community flourishes positively in the right direction, and it allows organizations like yours to flourish instead of regress. I really do hope for the best, but I definitely agree with you that we've seen people who have acted on things and people that have kind of been at the wayside. So I think again, it is very revealing. And at least before we get into one of our last segments called the randoms, is a few questions I have is one thing I love about your profile, I would say, is your love for your dog. I know you're a dog lover. Me and other friends have like commented it on your dog photos. I mean, what is it? What is the life like for a Rottweiler owner?
My gosh. Well, my current puppy she's a special one. I swear, she has ADHD. So it's been a while. I don't know how many months, 4 months, 5 months since I've gotten her. I got her in February. Usually they are so sweet, so loyal. And that is something I see with her now. She's learning to calm down a bit. She lays on my toes. She always wants to be near me. They tend not to run away from their people because they want to be with you. This one, like I said, she's still a baby. She gets it a little bit. But yeah, I think right now I just have the puppy blues because she's just so hyperactive and she struggles to focus. But normally they're wonderful dogs. They can be a little bit of like the fun police, which doesn't make sense to be around dancing, because if you're dancing, one of the things they were bred for was herding and like driving cattle. So I always joke that it's like you're being like a bad cow if you're dancing. They start jumping and barking and you to like sit down. So, but it's fun. It's having a big loving teddy bear all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, me myself, I'm a dog lover. Used to have a Rottweiler, now I have a Cane Corso, going back to another one in a few years. So yeah, I definitely know.
Corso now.
Yeah, I mean, no, I used to have a Corso. I had a Rottweiler and a Corso at one point. Waiting a few years to get another one, but anyone that shows love to their dogs and posts them, I mean, I just fall in love because hey, who doesn't love dogs? I mean, I know a lot of people who don't, but but it is what it is. So my last question, actually, before we get into the segment I have called the randoms, is through everything you've seen kind of through your spectrum, what do you feel, or what would you like the outcome to be, say, for instance, a year from now within our dance community or within your own dance community?
Oh, that's a big question. I think in another year, I would like for us to be back to events as normal. Hopefully that could be true. But when we come back, one thing I really in my heart would like is that we rebuild better events, that we don't just rush to put on the old events as they were, because even right before COVID, we were also having, in the dance community, we were having talks about sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
And it feels like with COVID, that has all been forgotten. At work, like, right before COVID, I had just had an HR specialist redo my whole code of conduct, so that there's, accountability built in. Like, nobody's allowed to be making my people feel uncomfortable. If you have 3 incidents, you're out, and I see some of these first events that are popping up are just rushing to get back. And I would really love it if we could make them safer places for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, spoken from a genuine organizer who cares about her community. And, again, I really do hope, again, that For the Love of Bachata is back, safe and sound, and we can all enjoy this wonderful event. And now it brings us to our closing segment called the randoms, which is about a few questions I have that allows myself and the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So, Jessica, let me know when you are ready.
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
All right. Number 1. What is bachata?
Bachata is a style of music originating in the Dominican Republic that has roots in bolero campesino. It is also a style of dance, and it was given the name bachata not originally, but later on as a slur because it was danced by people in the countryside as like a bachata was a gathering. And now it's a dance sensation all around the world with multiple styles in music and dance.
Man, just hit the nail on the head. Felt like I was in class again. Getting a man, I'm interested. All right, next question is: tell me one memorable moment from For the Love of Bachata. Just one.
Okay, this is a fun one. So the first time the police shut us down because we were too loud.
I can't complain. That's not a bad thing.
Because as a teacher, I was like, oh no, I can't get in trouble. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, it was so funny because also like the people were just having so much fun. Like they really didn't care. I was stressed, but I was like, everybody like, shh. we got shut down. Like it was like half an hour early. It wasn't the end of the world, but it's kind of funny to look back on. And people, as they were leaving, they're like, you know, in Penn State, they say like it's not a good party if the police don't come.
Oh my god. Oh my, I love it. I love. I mean, hey, a noise complaint. I'll take that. All right, next question is for you, Jessica. You're on the dance floor. What is a huge turnoff for you when you are dancing with someone?
Huge turnoff. I think not connecting with your partner. You know, like just dancing at your partner and not dancing with your partner. That's a huge turnoff.
I definitely agree with you 110%. All right, next question is: what is one event, if you could be at right now, what would it be? And you can't say For the Love of Bachata.
Okay. I would say Baltimore Salsa Bachata Congress because they hire all my homies and we have so much fun at that event.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Raj Moore. We miss you, man. All right, next question is: if you could have one dance, who is it with?
Okay, I'm going to pick, and I talked about this with somebody recently. I think on my podcast, we talked about it. Hernan Flores from Dominican Republic is one of my all-time favorite dancers. I met him when I went to Bachata Paradise in 2019. He dances all the styles, but he was just so much fun, so respectful, you know, like, it was just two humans meeting through the music. It was really lovely.
Man, that sounds like an experience to me. I definitely love hearing that. Next question is: Jessica, if you could have a superpower, what is it?
There's great responsibility in any power you choose. I think teleportation. That would be the best. Just to, you know, like, oh, I want to be at that party. Like, bam, I'm in Sweden for the night. Like, oh, you know, but I got to work on it.
All right. I like that. I'm assuming the dog is coming with you, or maybe the dog has to.
She can stay with grandma. And she's the fun police. So.
All right. Perfect. All right. This next question is a little different. What is maybe the biggest misconception about you?
I don't know. I don't know what the biggest misconception of me now is, but I know. So when I was newer to promotion, a couple people made it very clear that they thought I was arrogant. And I was like probably the most insecure of my life in that time period. But I don't know if it was just because I dare be a promoter as a woman, or like at the time I had removed my last name from social media and I was just Jessica Bachatera. And that was really to just be covert from like the parents of my students who were also in the dance community. But I don't know, like that was something that I remember people saying that I was just like, that doesn't feel true.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what people say now, but that's a misconception that has been true, or I mean, it's been said.
No, I mean that makes I definitely understand that. All right, next question is, what was the motivation to becoming DJ Tay?
There was no motivation. There was just a lot of people pushing.
Okay. Okay.
I was very content making my iTunes playlist at my event.
Oh, were you the YouTube people? Like, you're on YouTube, maybe 2 different browsers trying to mix songs?
YouTube. I would pre-plan my playlist and think about energy and all that. And then I would adjust it throughout the night. But people kept coming. They were like, "You think like a DJ. You need to start DJing." And I was like, "Nope." And they just kept coming. Like Mateo Jackson of Motion Envy was one of the first people that was like, "You need to be a DJ." And then there were others. So there was just a lot of people pushing me, and I was like, "All right, I'll do it."
Hey, sometimes all you need is a little push. So that definitely helps. All right, next question is, if you could be at one event right now, but you could only have one performance you can see, who's on stage right now?
One performance. Gosh, all the ones I think of are people who are no longer together. Okay, actually, I'm going to choose this one. I would love to see Ramon and Divna perform again.
Ooh.
I would love to see that because they were magic on stage.
Yes. I would say more like poetry in motion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Definitely big shout out to Ramon. He's doing amazing work in Bulgaria. Definitely, Ramon, we do miss you, and Divna. And now it brings me to my last question, and definitely this is for you. The last question goes like this: what goes down at the For the Love of Bachata events? For the novice person coming in, let them know what they can expect.
All right, you're going to hear some amazing music all night, guaranteed. There are going to be tons of wonderful, loving people that are generally really happy to dance with everybody and to meet new people. There's going to be lots of good vibes all night long. And then we're always going to end the night with some like R&B jams.
Ooh.
And everything. So, yeah.
Oh, man. DJ Tay on the 1s and 2s right now. You're definitely giving me just like social withdrawals. And, I definitely hope, like you said, in the future that, some normalcy, we can have these events up and running. And I thank you again for doing this segment, because I feel I get to learn a lot more about the artists and the guests rather than just what they do on a stage or in the public eye, but getting to see who they are as human beings. So definitely thank you. And now it brings us to the conclusion of our talk tonight. And honestly, from start to finish, I've enjoyed every moment, understanding who you are, Jessica, as a person, not just as a DJ, not just as an event organizer, but again, as a person. And, for me, just seeing your journey and seeing that it's still growing, I definitely hope that we can have you on definitely for the future.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this too.
Absolutely. And at least before we go, if you had any last few words for myself and the audience, but also contact info or where they can reach you to learn more about For the Love of Bachata.
Sure. Last words. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate you. All the good vibes. I can't tell who that is. It just says Facebook user. I guess last words: go forth and do things with love, including dance. You can find me on Instagram at For the Love of Bachata. We also have a Facebook page called For the Love of Bachata. You can find me on Facebook, Jessica. You got to put in DJ Tay before Taylor because there's too many Jessica Taylors. And then, of course, our website, forthelovebachata.com, has all the, like the local classes. It has the podcast, it has the blog, it has the online classes. So feel free to check that out.
Absolutely. And, honestly, Jessica, thank you again for coming on. Big shout out to you and your podcast. I definitely can't wait to keep hearing more of it. And honestly, I thank you. I thank everyone tuning in tonight and also everyone that will be tuning in the future. This has been episode 127 of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. I'm Diamond here with Jessica, DJ Tay, Taylor, and this has been another amazing episode. Everyone, have a great night, stay safe, and we will see you